Welcome in, guys. I'm Noah Castor. To my right, we have Brandon Hudson, and across the table, we have my man Darren Kinslow, and we are the BenchWarmers. In this video, we're going to be going over our Jacksonville Jaguars offseason report, basically what they've done this offseason, what they need to do to get better in the draft, where we think they're going to land in their division. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the biggest signing of the Jaguars offseason, which is Nick Foles. All right, what do you guys think of the signing? What do you think it is going to do to affect the Jaguars team?
Well, I think they needed a quarterback. Blake Bortles, they've been testing him out for so many years now, and clearly he wasn't the answer. What do you... If you like Nick Foles that much, go ahead, talk about him.
No,
I think he was in free agency this year. He probably was the best free agent quarterback, and so I think it was a good move to sign him and move away from Blake Bortles, because I think that's a big reason why they were so bad last year. So go ahead.
I think Nick Foles is going to save this franchise. I love Nick Foles. I love what he did for the Eagles. I like what he did for the Rams until Jeff Fisher got there. But we're not going to talk about that because Jeff Fisher is probably the worst coach in the NFL. But no, Nick Foles, I think it's a great signing. I really think he's going to complement what the Jaguars have going. And he doesn't have to carry that team. They still have a really good defense, and I think they have some offensive pieces. Clearly not as many as the Eagles. The Eagles had a really good offense, which is why I think the draft is going to be really big for the Jaguars. I'm not sure where I have them landing right now. I'll say it at the end of the video, but they need to have a really good draft. I think they... Where are some positions you guys think they need to address, first of all? Brandon, do you have any positions?
I have one. I'm going to go with what I say all the time because I have big belief in it. I think if you have one corner on one side that's really good, like they have Jalen Ramsey, you can't tell me that he's not good. I still think he's probably one of the best corners. He talks the most stuff on people.
Top 3, easy.
He's big. He's big for this organization.
Time.
But you got Jalen Ramsey on one side. Eventually people are going to figure out that you can't throw the ball to that side. So then they're going to start throwing the ball to the other side. So you have to balance out the corners. If you have one good corner, you have to have at least one decent or better corner.
I mean, AJ Boye is not bad.
He's not. Yeah, he's not. But they will need someone else to fill that spot. So I think that's one of the big spots they'll need to fill. Another position, maybe another receiver. I know they picked up Chris Conley, which wasn't a bad pickup, but I still think they're going to need another receiver. Maybe a tight end in the future. I don't know if they'll go for
another weapon.
Yeah, another weapon for him because I guess Safarian Jenkins. I mean, he's not horrible, but he's not someone I'd really rely on. But other than that, I really don't know anyone else they really need. They pretty much their defense is pretty well stacked. I will say that it's just mostly offense now.
Yeah, I think their defense is good. They definitely weren't near as good as 2017, but
I agree.
I still think they were really good, and I think picking up Nick Foles is going to solve the big issue, which was Blake Bortles. I do agree with you. I think the team's in his hands, but I think he could go one way or another. I think he's either going to do really bad or good. Not really good, but just good.
Really good.
So
don't be disrespectful.
That's the way
Nick Foles.
That's the way I see it. I don't know. I think he's going to do good for the Jaguars, and with their offense, they have several weapons right now, but they could definitely use another one. Maybe a tight end, like you said.
Yeah. They have the number 7 overall pick. I don't know if they're going to stay there. I think it would be in their best interest to trade back, accumulate more picks, because this is a really defensive heavy in the first round. They really don't need another defensive player. So I think it'll be really good if they can find a trade partner, trade back, and get some really good offensive pieces later in the draft, because they're going to fall because the draft is just so good on defense that offensive players that are really good are going to fall to the second round. You can pick up a wide receiver, like a deep threat like Paris Campbell, who ran a really good 40, Andy Isabella, or a guy from Oklahoma, I can't remember his name, Marquise Hollywood Brown, that ran another good 40 at his pro day. So I think just a deep threat for Nick Foles will be really good. They really don't have one right now. They got a lot of number 2 receivers. They don't really have a number 1. So Maybe DK Metcalf at number 7 if he's still there. If you really like him, take him. But I'm not a huge believer in DK Metcalf. I think I like A.J. Brown a little bit better. But I think DK Metcalf suits Nick Foles' style of play, which is just chuck it up and just place it, let your receiver go and get it. So I think that'd be a really good pickup for them. Okay, so now where do you guys see them landing in the division?
Oh, man. This one's kind of hard because I think that division, I don't know. That division. It could go one way or another. I mean, obviously the Texans, not sure how good they're going to do this year. I think the best they do is second behind the Colts. I think the Colts win the division this year. And if they don't get second, I think they do beat out the Titans still and go to third with the
I agree with that.
Texans in second. That's what I've got for them. I think that will probably change before the end of the year with the draft and obviously free agency still going on. So we'll have to see. But I think the best they can do is probably second behind the Colts.
Interesting. Brandon, what do you think? I mean, your team's in this division, so I want to get your take on it.
I agree with Darren, honestly. I think second or third will probably be where those fit. I can't really say much like with the Giants where it's not one or two teams fighting for first or second. It's possibility for anyone to fight for first and second.
I think it's one of those divisions where all four,
Yeah.
Almost sort of like how the Browns and Steelers division went this year, where they were all kind of fighting it out.
Yeah.
100%, yeah. I could see the Jaguars getting first in the division.
I knew he was going to say it.
I really could.
If Nick Foles plays as good as you really think he is, then
let's say it's Eagles Nick Foles. I think he can take first in the division 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I just want to see how he does in a 16-game schedule.
It's definitely a better division that he
starter.
could do. It's definitely an easier division that could happen if he just does what he does.
No offense, Brandon. I'm not really afraid of the Texans. Just with the
I
offensive
agree.
line, it's just the offensive line that really frustrates me. The Titans, am I really afraid of Marcus Mariota? Not really. I think their biggest competition is Andrew Luck and the Colts because that team is so good and they're so deep. They got so many draft picks, so much cap space for next season too. So I think they'll be fighting it out for first place with the Colts. I mean, the Jags also, you got to remember this, they're going to be playing a last place division and that last place schedule. So they're going to have an easier schedule than the Texans are, the Colts are, and the Titans are. Yep. So they're going to have an easier schedule. So I think first place is where you need to be shooting for if you're the Jaguars and you have a really good draft. I think Nick Foles is going to carry him. I love Nick Foles. Love him so much. But, I think first place is a really good. What's your problem with Nick Foles? I don't understand the issue with you and Nick Foles. You just hate him.
I really didn't like him. I think because, you see what hat I'm wearing. You see the helmet. I think you can understand why I didn't like Nick Foles this season. I don't really care anymore.
I feel like you care a little bit. I think it's me pissing you off more.
That's probably true, actually, yeah. I don't mind him any. I didn't really.
I think he got carried by Carson Wentz and then got to finish out the year.
Carson Wentz.
You have to wait.
No.
You have to admit, he got him into the playoffs.
He did play really well.
He got him into the playoffs.
What about this year?
No, this year.
This year, yeah.
Carson Wentz was garbage.
Yeah.
And then Nick Foles carried them into the playoffs.
Yeah, but last year's more of Carson Wentz carries the playoffs, then he ends up coming in for the playoffs.
Sorry, but Carson Wentz plays in that Super Bowl, the Eagles don't win. I'm sorry. Do I think Carson Wentz is beating out Tom Brady? I don't. I don't think the game plan that they were going to have with Carson Wentz is going to be the same as Nick Foles. I think the game plan with Nick Foles was so much better to beat the Patriots. I think if Carson Wentz plays in that Super Bowl, they don't win. I think the Patriots win. Am I wrong?
Well, yeah. And that's another thing, too. How is Jacksonville, are they going to...
They need to use him correctly.
Yeah.
They need to use him correctly. If they use him like any other quarter, you need to build your offense around Nick Foles. You can't just be like, all right, this is our offense, run it, because that's what Jeff Fisher did, and that's when he got into trouble. I think Doug Pearson dumbed down the offense a little bit for Nick Foles, made it more simple. I think if they use him correctly, it could be a really good season for the Jaguars. I really do. But if they use him incorrectly, it's going to be tough. It really is going to be tough because I don't think Nick Foles can carry a team because the defense is still really good. And that's why I didn't really like him going to the Giants because he would have had to carry that team. Defense is still really good. I think they can take first place in the division. That's just what I think.
He does have that different sort of personality as a quarterback where he's not going to be the offense.
No.
So, but
I just can't see him. I honestly, with the Colts, I can't see him beating out the Colts. I really can't. The only reason why I say it is because they have, just because you, like you said, they have the cap space still. They could still pick up players. They have the draft picks. I mean, they have Andrew Luck. They have receivers. I mean, they have the tight end. It just kind of seems hard to beat the Colts in this situation. Even for my Texans, I don't even have. I mean, even if they had the players for it, I still wouldn't even have faith in them.
I don't know. I think it comes down to Jaguars are playing a last place schedule, which is huge. I don't think people understand how does this team go from last to first? Well, they played an easier schedule. That's why. So I think it's going to be harder for the first place team, and I think it's going to be easier for the last place team to do better. So I like the Jaguars in this division.
All right.
I think that wraps it up for the Jaguars offseason report. As always, I mean, we had our previous video, the New York Giants offseason report.
Mm-hmm.
Go check that one out. The mock draft we did a week ago. Check that out. Our goal is to hit 100 subscribers before the draft, so that would be a really good goal to hit. We're going to do a giveaway for the first 100 subscribers if we hit that goal by the time the draft day comes around. As always, this has been the BenchWarmers, guys.
Deuces.